Hello students, good evening to all. Today we are going to learn an interesting and important topic that is regarding to a substation equipment, that is circuit breakers. What is the circuit breaker? What are the different types of the circuit breakers? How they will work? So we will learn these next sessions. In this class, first of all, we will see what is the switch gear, protective equipments. What are the classification of switch gear and protective equipments based on different factors. So before that, let us introduce myself. My name is Dr. C.H. Yadaya, Senior Lecturer in Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Government Polytechnic, Husnabad. Now, let us see this. Today topic is 5th semester EE 504A Switchgear and Protection, Unit 2 Circuit Breakers and Reactors. In that, today we are going to concentrate on phenomenon of arc. Now, so today objectives. On completion of this topic, you would be able to know first point, introduction to switchgear system, salient points of switchgear systems in power system, classification of circuit breakers, phenomenon of arc, and so methods of arc extinction. These are the topics we are going to cover in this class. So before that, in last class we have seen our another equipments. Those are under no load condition we have operated, that is the isolators. At the same time, we have seen air brake switches on 11 kV at DTR, and load brake switch also we have seen for medium voltage up to 1600 amperes load brake switches. That means some of the portion we have completed for low and medium voltage controlling, switching and controlling equipments, that is air brake switches, isolators and normal switches. For coming to the large power system where hundreds of amperes, thousands of volts we have to manage, then what is the equipment is required? What are the problems during these operations? If the problem persists, what are the remedies we have to take it? Before that, we are going to see it. What is the main basic things in this system? Let us need for protection system. What is the need now? What is the need of the protective system? As we know that the protective equipments must be required for electrical system. So 15 to 10% of total capital cost we have to allocate for maintenance of this whole system for smooth operation. Then how we are going to maintain these equipments in a large interconnected power system? As we know that the different generating stations, from in different places connected to a common point, that is a grid, power grid. From this power grid, it is transmitted to different places of in our India with reliable supply, with quality of supply. During this process, there may be unpredicted problems may be arises. That one example is the lightning discharge, sudden collapse of power towers due to the heavy gale and wind. During this period, what are the precautions, what are the steps to take to avoid total burning of system? At that condition, only faulty section should be separated from the healthy section for repair purpose. So how you are going to separate that thing, and at that time what are the equipments required, how they will work? So we are going to learning one by one equipment in our power system. Today we are concentrate a very important topic is a circuit breaker. Before going to the classification of circuit breakers, actual circuit breakers, now why this arc is arises whenever the circuit is broken? How we are going to suppress this arc? What are the scientific methods to quench these arcs? So these are the basics today we are going to learn. Now, so need for protective system. What is the need? It is a rapid growth of a modern power system. As we know that the load demand goes on increasing day by day, but generating plants are limited. Then demand is very high, supply is very less. The gap between the generation and demand is more. At that condition, we have to manage electrical supply with reliable and quality power to each and every consumer. So how you are going to manage it? By load shedding and by different methods. So at that condition, to maintain a proper operation of system, we require some switchgear and the equipments also assist for operation. Next, requirement of high degree of reliability and safety. The reliability is required for every item or every equipment. At the same time, it should be provide a safety to equipment as well as operators. It should be economy. So these are the three basics and needs required for a protective system. It should be economical, it should be reliable, it should be safety to meet the load demand of consumers. So these are the need for protective system. Now the function of switchgear equipment. What is the function of the switchgears? As we know that the normal condition, under normal condition, what is happening? We are going to manually operate it, whether switch is open or closed. Under abnormal condition, automatically that line should be opened, which is a line undergone any fault, whether short circuit fault or open fault, shunt fault and series faults, any type of the fault that can be isolated automatically by intelligent system. So that purpose, what is need? For normal conditions, for the purpose of operation and maintenance, we require the switchgear and equipment. For the emergency purpose, in case of the abnormal conditions, we require this switchgear and equipment for clearance of faulty line very quickly to avoid the damage to the remaining equipments. These are the requirements. Now, what is mean with the definition of switchgear? Switch gear, it is a switch means it is an automatic operation. Already we have seen the definition of the switches. So, the operators here, the operators used for switching, controlling, protecting of an electrical equipment is known as switchgear. Nothing but in our domestic houses we are using switches, 5 ampere switches for lighting loads and 15 amperes or 16 ampere switches for power loads. So, what is the role of that switches in our house? They are only controlling on off purpose we are using switches in domestic level. In medium voltage for any factory where load current is more, in our domestic itself lighting load 5 amperes, less than 5 amperes, power loads less than 16 amperes, whereas in case of a small factory where the currents may be hundreds of amperes, 200, 300, 400 amperes, then how we are going to control that current? For example, in case of some small factory where they will take the directly supply 11 kV supply, then how we are going to control those loads? For a small village, how we are going to control? For a small mandal, town, urban, metro city, go on increasing the load demand. So, how we are going to control if the voltage and current values increases? At the same time, we require the safe to equipment as well as the operators. Such a way to we have to plan it. So, that purpose we are using the switchgear and protective equipments. Once again, what is the switchgear definition? The operators used for switching, controlling and protecting of an electrical equipment is known as switchgear. Now, we can see this is a switch generally used in our domestic, and you can see these are the different type of the fuses. First switching, next is called protecting, the different of the fuses generally used for protective overloads, short circuits in our domestic or small commercial complex. Now, you can see the relays. So, this relay will detect the abnormal conditions in electrical characteristics. So, relay detect the abnormal conditions, that will give the signal to the breakers. The breaker will operate. During the operation, it may undergone few stresses, mechanical stresses, electromagnetic stresses, electrostatic stresses, electrothermal stresses, different of the stresses it will undergo. Even then, the breaker should be withstand this all stresses and it has to work good working function. So, this is a thing you should already know. Now, coming to the components of switchgear system. What are the components? So, as you know that this is the one component generally used in domestic also, switches, and you can see this is a DP double pole switch. You can see this is a MCB, miniature circuit breakers, generally used in domestic. So, what are the switches? Here you can see the switches are air brake switches, oil brake switches, knife switches and isolators. Air brake switches, you can see air brake switches generally, for example LT, that is one example of our normal switch generally used in our house. At the same time, air brake switches generally used in case of the 11 kV substations, DTR, and knife switches generally we observed in our laboratory while doing the experiment. And whereas isolators already we have seen in previous classes in our substations how they are connected. These are the switches. Next, what are the other component? And protective equipments. These are switches. It can on or off the current or circuit. Now, at that condition, what anything happen, then how we are going to control that circuit? By using the protective equipments. That is known as the fuses in domestic level. So, in domestic level we are going to use the fuses. So, the fuses may be rewirable fuses, KitKat fuse already we have seen, and cartridge fuses. A cartridge fuse is nothing but the LV low voltage cartridge fuse, the HRC fuse high rupture capacity fuse, and HV high voltage HRC fuse already we have seen. These are the capacity to break the current nearly 600 amperes in domestic, some small factories. For in case of in substations, how we are going to use this instead of fuses, how we are going to manage that much of the high level energy that can be used by different intelligent thinkers. So, you can see this is the circuit breakers. Small modification of fuses is circuit breaker. The circuit breakers may be different types. How the arc going to quench with the help of medium, whether you are using the oil, whether you are going to use the SF gas, whether you are going to use the high blast air, based on medium, these are the classified. We can see later. Now, so another intelligent equipment is the relays. Now, what will happen in fuses? Whenever the abnormal conditions arise, then automatically our fuse will blow and it will protect our equipment from heavy current or short circuit current. But in substation, circuit breakers is a mechanically strong, but it cannot detect the abnormal conditions in the line. That means under normal condition, our system have some electrical characteristics like voltage, current, frequency, power factor, temperature, active power, reactive power, so on. Under abnormal conditions, these values, all or few of the values may not be within these limits. That can be identified by our intelligent equipment, intelligent tool is known as the relays. Relay is a sensing device and it will give the trip signal to circuit breakers. So, that can also we can see later. This relays also you are very familiar. So, one relay, that is a Buchholz relay, generally used in our power transformers and big size distribution transformer also. Similarly, in our power system we are going to use the differential relays, over current relays, over voltage relays and distance relays, different types of the relays. So, that can be covered in the next sessions. These are the components of switchgear system in our power system. So, this all will help to run our power system in smooth operation without any damage to equipment as well as operators. Let us see how these components will help to us for smooth operation. Now, you can see for the simple circuit here, how this simple circuit, simple low voltage circuit. As you know that this simple circuit has, you can see this one, in this circuit here, this is a source, this is the load. Source and load is connected to the controlling switch and protecting fuse. So these two switchgear and protective equipments are these two. It can protect from this whole circuit from overload and short circuit for low voltage system. So how even then less than 5 amperes there is a possible to develop some arc in between two opening contacts or closing contacts of a switch. You might observe in your houses at night time. That means less than 5 amperes current will create an arc that can be visible. That arc has a temperature of high temperature, and that temperature persists some time, then it may melt the terminals inside the switch. You might observe some of the failed switches. If you are observed backside, there is a black melted switches we can observe. Now, so what is happening here? In simple LV circuit, how simple circuit will work at that condition if the fault occurred? How these our switchgear and protective equipment protect from damage to our source as well as load, at the same time operator also. Let us see here, this is a domestic small switch. Now you can use a switch. Now in this case, so whenever I am going to close the switch, the circuit is closed. You can now I am closing switch. This source, this is a load, this is a switch, this is the fuse. These are the elements. Now I am going to close the switch. Once switch is closed, the electrons flowing in a closed circuit. So this is the under normal condition. If there is no problem in the circuit, suddenly if the nearby negative terminal, the right side terminal, there is a some problem, the line which is touches to the ground, then whatever the current is coming from the positive terminal to the negative terminal, so some of the current is flowing to into the negative terminal, but some of the current flowing to the ground. That means the heavy current draws from the positive terminal. So that is unwanted current. If the current flowing for a while, there is a possible to the overheat of all operators which is connected in series from positive terminal to negative terminal. After some times, so total circuit may be burn out. To avoid that one, so what to do? So we cannot avoid short circuits when it may be occurred. Suppose I have placed this perfectly. At one morning, there is a possible to the insulation failure due to the rat bite, due to the insulation failure, due to the some mechanical injury by some metallic part. At that condition, the current tried to flow to the ground. So it should be detected. It should be stop the fault current. So that purpose, before going to this my situation, I am going to use my protective equipment, that is the fuse. It can sense in any abnormal conditions in the circuit that can be managed by small circuit with the help of fuse. You can see this is a simple animation. Now I am going to forcibly make the one fault circuit here. So here I made the one fault. what is happening? So once the fault occurred here, then automatically the heavy current will draws from the supply, that some of the current is flowing here and some of the current flowing here. Then heavy current, whatever the current previously, that is more than now, that current is passing through the fuse element. The fuse will melt due to the heat developed across the heat material. Now already we have seen heat, the heat element, the fuse element is a low melting point. It has some characteristics. So due to the current flow, heavy current flowing through this line, that is equal I square R T by J. So here I is a current flowing through the line, R is a resistance of the fuse element, T is the time of operation, how much time it is taking to how much duration the current is flowing, heavy current, J is the Joule constant. Based on this one, the heat will develops. That heat will melt the metal, and it reaches to the, whenever the melting point, the fuse will molten, will drop due to the gravity. Then instead of fuse, the fuse will break. Once it breaks, the current is suddenly interrupted. Whenever the current is suddenly interrupted, the gap, very small gap between the two electrodes, the ear, due to the, whenever the current is passing through this one, it is nothing but electromagnetic field. Suddenly it is chopped. Thus electromagnetic field is converted to electrostatic field. Due to the electrostatic field, the voltage across these 2 points is increased very high as compared to the source voltage. And this voltage easily manage the air between open contacts, easily ionization takes place. Once the ionization is nothing but it is a flexible conductor through which electrons will try to flow, but due to the collision of these ions in the air particles with electrons, then there is a friction will takes place, heat will develop, that heat increases, then it will appear as a flame or arc. This process will take place within seconds, microseconds. So this is a basic idea of how the arc is developed in a small circuit. So that means within less than 5 amperes here, that means less than 5 amperes current, if I chopped, if I opened, there is a possible to arc. If I, instead of 5 amperes, I am going to trip the current 500 amperes, then how much heat will develops and how much arc will develop. If that much of the arc develops, how we are going to control that purpose, what is the equipment is required, I am going to study in this session. I think you have some idea how the arc is developed in the circuit, a simple circuit. Similar process in case of the medium voltage, high voltage, extra high voltage, ultra high. Now you have seen this LV circuit. So what is the impact of a small current on our circuits? Whenever short circuit occur, the small current increases to enormous value that may damage to our total equipments which are connected to our circuit. To avoid that one, we require the protective equipments. This is regarding to LV circuit protection. For in case of small, medium, you can see another one. Here you can see this is the one small factory where the load may be 50 amperes or 100 amperes, 200 amperes. Then how we are going to use, which type of the switches are you are going to use. For this factories, So this much of the load is going on daily. It may be 100 amperes or 200 amperes with 440 volts. Then how we are going to break the load at a time in the condition of normal or abnormal conditions. Already we have seen for medium voltage, for medium current purpose, so load break switch generally used in small factories. So that is, you have seen already, this is a load break switch used for medium system. And how they work, already you have seen, it has some modification of previous case. So it has some cooling media, dielectric media, and it is placed in a chambers, breaking chambers. So this is small factory, small industry, one small industry. Then for high voltage purpose, you can see this is the one locomotive shed where these are the manufacturing. That means we require the large amount of the energy, electrical energy for manufacturing this purpose. At that condition, if at abnormal condition or normal condition, how we are going to switch on or switch off the supply. And then how we are going to use? So as we know that it may be a small factory, we can instead of the line to line voltage 440, we can directly will give to the 11 kV feeder. This is already we have seen. So by in case of HD system 11 kV supply, the current is reduced one that can be controlled by using our the AB switch, air brake switches. The air brake switches can be operated under load condition, but it can be used up to 11 kV or 33 kV, we can maximum 36 kV we can interrupt. What will happen if we interrupt? Even then interrupted, there is a arc will develops. That arc will automatically with atmospheric pressure air will nullify the arc such a way that, so it's the rated making and breaking contact, the rating of the two blades, whether it's male or female. Already we have seen this construction also, and it has a male blade and female blade. It's at the time of the manufacture itself, it is designed in such a way that it can withstand for making and breaking capacity of the current. What is the breaking capacity? The breaking capacity of any system, that is equal to root 3 into the voltage it is operated in kV and into the current carrying capacity in kilo amperes. That will give the breaking capacity of the switches. Then coming to the making capacity, what? So making capacity is nothing but it is a 2.55 times of breaking capacity. So already we calculated previously that thing. So that means the making capacity is 2.55 times greater than the breaking capacity, such a way that the two male and female terminals are designed. So this can be used for these big industries. So for here you can see it for a metro city where it has a large number of domestic, industrial, different types of loads. And if the load, further load, that means here, so these two twin cities, for example, in Hyderabad and Secunderabad, how we are going to control a large amount of hundreds of amperes and voltage, then what to need? So we cannot use a load break switch, we cannot use our small switches, we cannot use 11 kV or 33 kV AB switches. Then we need a separate equipment which can easily operated without any harm to operator as well as equipment at any condition, whether it may be normal condition or it may be abnormal condition. So what is that thing? So we can operate this load from our HT system, you can see from our substations, where the substation has a good switchgear and equipments which can control our load current, which can control abnormal short circuit currents, such a way that we have the equipments. Those equipments are known as switchgear and equipments. Generally, this is the circuit breakers. To operate circuit breakers in a good manner, it has to assist some equipment that is known as the instrument transformers. So instrument transformer is a current transformer and potential transformer, CT/PT. So these two instrument transformers measures the abnormal conditions in our system, and that will gives a signal to our relay system, where relay system analysis takes place. Then it identify any error, the error signal sent to our mechanically stronged breaker. So the breaker will automatically cut off the abnormal short circuit current to save our equipments. So this is a basic idea of how our substation helps to run our electrical system in a smooth operation. Now we are going to study these circuit breakers. Now you can see the switch gear for EHT system, extra high tension system, where the voltage may be 132 kV or 220 kV or 400 kV or maximum of 765 kV. The substation has the number of switchgear and equipments. They may be has the number of parallel paths. You can see. So these are the our substation which is going to control total metro city loads from here. Sends the quality power to consumers, a reliable energy to consumers. Now, as an electrical student, we are going to study these things with our line diagrams. What is the equipment, how it will works, what are the its salient parts. Let us do now. So already you know that. So this is the line diagram of substation. So this substation, it receives electrical energy from different energy generating stations. It may be thermal power station, it may be nuclear power station, it may be hydro power station, or it may be sometimes we will take the power from power grid. Whatever the energy taken from a large source with a high voltage that cannot be directly given to a small load consumer. So what to do? So we have to once again, whatever the large voltage, step down to in different stages up to the consumer level. Whether the consumer may be in 230 volts, 400 volts, 11 kV and 33 kV, 132 kV, also the consumers available in our city. Where 130 kV is available? Have you find any 130 kV line given to the private or government people directly for the is purpose? Yes, we have seen 130 kV direct lines from our substations, only two phases given to the railway peoples, where railway electric loco shed, electric locomotives run this 26 kV So that is, they will, whatever the 132 kV will take that step down to 26 kV, and the single line, single wire run over the rail track. So that means railway department as a one consumer, a bulk consumer, is taking the 130 kV supply directly. And coming to the 33 kV. So 33 kV directly supply will take, they have its own 33 kV by 11 kV, 33 kV by 440 volts, its own substations inside its campus. Have you seen? Yes, we have seen. So BHEL, government sector, public sector, it has its own direct 33 kV line will take. Sometimes 130 kV towers also they will take for testing purpose of different large equipments. At least you can observe Bambino. They also taken the 33 kV line input. They have its own 33 kV substation inside their campus. Next, coming to the 11 kV. Yes, 11 kV feeders, they will dedicated lines will directly taken by the small consumers like rice mills, oil mills. Sometimes directly they will take the, so 2-3 agriculture consumers directly they will take the 11 kV feeder, they will provide its own DTR for their 2 to 3 agriculture pump sets. And coming to the 440 volts. So 440 volts directly the supply consumer is apartments, a small complex, shopping complex. They will take directly 3-phase supply for distribution of load, and 230 volts just like us in domestic. These are the different consumers available in our society. They will take directly supply from different stages, and each stages we require the switchgear and protective equipments to withstand this high voltage and high currents. These switchgear and protective equipments are different shapes, different manufacturers, but the idea of working is similar. So let us see that our things. Here, if you are single diagram, if you are observed, what is happening? The incoming line here, so it is connected to the entering into the substation. So it is connected to the lightning arresters. It is a protective from any lightning discharge. Now coming to the, now you can see at a glance how the substation is operating with help of our switchgear and protective equipments. Here our switchgear and protective equipments are isolators, CTs, PTs, circuit breakers, and similar lightning arresters. Similar arrangement you can see here. First, whatever the power is entering at the incoming line, and the incoming line and our substation is separated, isolated by using the input isolator, that is the line isolator. After that line isolator, it is connected to current transformer and circuit breaker. You can see one current. Whenever the current entering here, it is going up to circuit breaker only. Then after circuit breaker is closed, it is going to bus bar system. Once it is connected to the two isolators, one is connected towards the transformer and another is connected to the another bus isolator. Now in this case, circuit breaker is once again closed here. What will happen? It is coming to the next circuit breaker through isolator and CT. Have you observed inside the CB there is a media, whether it is oil or a sepsis gas or air blast. Inside there is a possible to nullify the arc which is erases. Let us see later. Now after this circuit breaker is closed, then what will happen? It has entered into our power transformer primary side. Once whatever the work to be done, that is done by our transformer, that is the step down to required voltage, that is given to the next stage, that is once again through the isolator. You can see the step down voltage is given to the next stage through the isolator, current transformer and circuit breaker. And once circuit breaker is closed, it is connected to next the LV bus bar, where our domestic load is connected, for example. Now if I close this CB also, circuit breaker also, then what will happen? You can see it. Then once it is going to the load will glow. That is the total circuit. What are the incoming line? High voltage coming, that is maybe 132 kV, that is step down to 440 volts. The 440 volts is given to domestic, where domestic will take the single phase 230 volts. The 230 volts is given to our load is glowing. That means our bulb can be controlled 3 stages here by using CBs. So here isolator cannot be operated, as you know that the isolator only assists the circuit breaker only isolation purpose in maintenance time. But here switching operation takes place, own responsible is the circuit breakers. In the substation we use the single portion 3 level circuit breakers. 3 stages we can control our flow of current. This is thing already you know on it. Now coming to the operation, when CT and CB, in a situation when to open CT, that is a CT cannot be opened. Here isolator and CB both are brothers. CB is a bada brother and isolator is a chota brother. When to operate? What is the sequence of operation while closing the circuit, while opening the circuit? Already you know that. Let us at a glance you can see the how this will take place while opening the sequence of circuit breaker and isolators. Let us see here a simple line diagram where one bus bar is connected from incoming line, and here CT and CB is connected. The CB has inside dielectric media, and our aim is to get the supply up to bus bar. Now whether I have to give the supply. Let us give the supply this line. So now isolator and CB are closed. Then whatever the incoming supply will goes directly to the bus bar. Now we see it. Now it is directly going to the circuit breaker. Total all are closed condition. From starting to ending this current is flowing. Now I want to maintain here starting CT. So this CT you can see it. Here I want to maintain this CT. I have some problem. Then what to do? Shall I open this? Shall I open this? What is the first one? Whether it's the first one, second one. So here already we know that isolator property is always operated after circuit breaker is open. After this it has to operate. Otherwise what will happen? Here a large arc may be occurred. That may be spoil the total system. Then there is no arc here inside the breaker. Yes, here also there is a possibility to arc may be occurred. But whatever the arc is occurred, that can be nullified by using different media inside the medium. That is the beauty of, that is the strength of circuit breaker. Now I am going to open this one. What is the first? I have to open first bada bai, next is chota bai during the opening period. Ceremony, that is the opening any big project. First so main officer, after that assistant officer. That is the here CB is the first officer. So I can open the CB now. CB is open. Now you can see arc is also coming inside. That arc is quenched by inside media. Then whatever the condition, now there is no current, incoming current is coming inside the substation. There is a voltage but current is 0. Then we can try to open isolators now. Then open the isolator. Then you can maintain the whatever the work is required on CT. So because CT is isolated from bus bar side, from incoming side, both sides physically opened. So the operator may has a good confidence. Yes, the system is the equipment which is going to operate is isolated both either side. So he can easily that whatever the charges induced on the CT can be discharged by using his own earth stick. Then after that he will attend the work. So now after work is completed, then restore the supply. Then what is the sequence now? Now we have to close the CB or CT. Once again problem. Now in this case, so what is the thing? You can see next figure. Now the closing sequence of isolator and CB. Now in this case what we have to do? So if there is no current in the circuit, you have to open the isolator. Now I can close the isolator. Otherwise what will happen? If I close the CB, after that I can close the isolator, what will happen? Whatever the inrush current, that current which is already this is closed one. If I close this one, the current directly circuit is closed. That means whatever the current here, it will drop from this one, that current is flowing through this one, then arc will appear here. Then total system collapse. So what to do? So that means, so now you have to close first this one, next this one. It is correct? No. So what to do? If it is closed, directly current will flow, so it will damage. So what to do? Then first you have to close, no current, this one. After that you close it, then spark will come. So what will the spark will comes? That will managed by our circuit breaker. That is a sequence. So while opening circuit breaker line, the circuit breaker should be opened, then followed by the isolator. While closing the operation, first chota bai has to entered, isolator should be closed, then circuit breaker be closed. These are the sequence you have to remember while doing any work in any substations. Otherwise there is a heavy fault, heavy flashover current maybe takes place. This is the thing. Now you can see it. Now I close the isolator. Now current is not coming. Why? Circuit is opened. Then I will close the CB. Then even the current is coming, charging current due to that one. So some spark will come, it is a nullified easily. Then current is flowing. So this is the basic operation takes place in our daily life in our substations. Now I am going to study. So this arc, while opening, while closing, there is a possible to arc takes place here. Then arc, why arc is raised? How we are going to nullifying this breaker? Why not isolator? Then I am going to learn. Let us see. So these are the things you should know. Now before that one, entering our circuit breakers, what are the different types of circuit breakers? Now let us see the classification of circuit breakers. Circuit breakers are classified based on different factors. That is first based on the location where we are going to place circuit breaker. So that is known as the whether you are going to place indoor or outdoor. So you can see here. So based on the location, whether you are going to place indoor, that is the inside the building, or you are going to place the outside yard, outside the building. So based on this one, it is categorized based on the location. Now coming to the another location is the based on the voltage. Whether you are going to use voltage, which voltage? As already we have seen equipments, the voltages are LV voltages, medium voltages, high voltages, extra high voltages and ultra high voltages. Substations already we have seen. These are the different type of the breakers based on these voltages. Low voltage, medium voltage breakers, high voltage breakers, extra high voltage breakers and ultra high voltage breakers. So what is the voltage range? We will see later. Now based on the medium. So another medium. Which type of the medium are you going to use to nullify the arc which is raised during the closing and opening inside the breaker? Whether you are using the oil, whether you are using the air blast, whether you are using the subsist gas, or sometimes you are not using anything, that is a vacuum. So based on these things, that is classified into the different breakers. Let us see one by one. So what is the location? Based on the location, based on the location, what is the indoor breakers, where these indoor breakers are used up to 36 kVA range, that is the power range. We can use up to the 36 kVA range. We can use this type of breaker. The capacity, that is kVA, up to 36 kVA we can use indoor breakers, circuit breakers. Now if more than 36 kVA, then we opt for, so the breaker should be placed only outdoor, that is known as the outdoor breakers. Below up to 36, above 36 to 63 kVA capacity to handle, that time we can use the breakers. Those breakers are known as the outdoor breakers. These outdoor breakers placed in substation yard, not inside the building. Now coming to the voltage. So LV voltage, low voltage. As we know that the voltage which is less than 1000 volts is known as the low voltage. That can be operated with the help of the breaker. That breaker is known as the low voltage circuit breaker. If the voltage greater than 1 kV, less than 52 kV, that voltage we can say that is a medium voltage breakers. If the voltage greater than 52 kV and less than 220 kV, that breakers are known as the high voltage circuit breakers. Here high voltage circuit breakers can be operated 220 kV up to 220 kV. From 52 kV voltage to 220 kV voltage we can use the high voltage breakers. If the voltage increased above the 220 kV, then up to 765 kV, that means 220 kV or 400 kV or 765 kV. So three ranges can be used for extra high voltage breakers, that is known as the EHV breakers. If the voltage greater than 765, in Indian transmission system our subsystem is the 765 only up to date. Now it is the research is going on to implement higher voltages in our India, but abroad they are already increased to the above 1000 kV. But in our situations we are going to maximum 765 kV transmission system only. Now up to, so to break the system voltage, line voltage, so 765 kV, then I can use a ultra high voltage circuit breaker. These are the classification of breakers based on voltages. Low voltage breakers, medium voltage breakers, high voltage breakers and extra high voltage breakers and ultra high voltage breakers. These are the breakers classified. Now based on the medium, then first I can use the oil as a quenching media, then I can say this is a oil circuit breaker. So this can be used up to LV to 132 kV voltage. This type of the breakers is the oil circuit breakers. Now another breaker is the vacuum circuit breaker. In this case there is no media, even there is no air inside. The vacuum is created. That is known as the vacuum circuit breakers. This type of the breakers is generally used in our 33 kV substations. What is the advantages? We can operate number of times. Whereas in case of the oil circuit breakers, what will happen? If operated number of times, there is a arc is going to rises, we are going to quenching the arc every time. So during this process, the oil is decomposes. There is a possible to the formation of oil particles into the carbonization. So deterioration of the electric strength of the oil, that is a one disadvantages. So if you are used in vacuum circuit breaker, there is no decomposition of oil. So there is no air itself. It's a vacuum. So nowadays all 33 kV by 11 kV substations you can observe. So cheap and best is the vacuum circuit breakers. Now coming to the some other media, that is a air blast circuit breaker, where we are using the AB switch at 11 kV substation DTR. In that case, the arc is quenched by lengthening by using the horn gaps. Here rods. So what is in this case? So that is the 11 kV. Some current may be 100 or 200 amperes. So but what will happen if the voltage system increases above 11 kV up to 132 kV? Then we are going to use a forceful air puffing up the arc can be takes place by external air force. So here we are going to use nearly 20 to 30 kg per centimeter square of the pressure is required for blow off the arc generated between the fixed and the moving blades. So this is one thing you can use. So here the air reservoir is required, that should be stored air always 20 to 30 kg per centimeter square air. Whenever the moving mechanism takes place, then the air blows inside the chamber and puffs the whatever the arc presence in the media contacts between the rods. That is taken by the air blast circuit breaker. We can see later with help of our diagram. Now the latest is the sulfur hexafluoride medium used in our circuit breaker chamber, interruption chamber. So that type of the circuit breakers is known as the sulfur hexafluoride breakers. So these breakers can be used from 33 kV to 765 kV voltages. Nowadays all are modifying, changing into SFC gas, because SFC gas has a excellent the property, electronegative property. So whatever the charge particles formed during the arc, during the ionization, positive charges, negative charges, these charges can be electrons, negative charges, this can be absorbed by this SFC gas particles. Then there is no charged particles, there is no ionization takes place, then there is no arc. That is the main thing. So let us see later its importance and how the SFC gas is superior than the other breakers. Now, so these are the classification of circuit breakers based on different factors. One factor is the, what is the factor? One factor is the location, another is the voltage, another is the medium. After classification of these breakers, let us see what is main requirement of a circuit breaker. Now we have seen these are the circuit breakers. What are the main properties required for a circuit breakers? What is its main aim? So let us see. The requirement of a circuit breaker for a smooth operation of any breaker, it should be first, it should be operate very quickly. That means the shortest time for operation. While closing, while opening, it should be operation should be very quickly in case of electricity. You can observe in our domestic while you are operating switch to control in your fan, so while you are moving slowly, then automatically it will switch on. If it is open, automatically switch off. So what is happening? So without your force, finger force, it will switch on and switch off is very quickly operation. That is a design. So inside there is a spring is provided. The spring will operate very quickly. Otherwise what will happen? There is an arc between the two contacts. So you might observe, if you are closing and opening by switch slowly, you can observe the spark inside the switch. That is not advisable. So what is the main thing? The switch should be operated very quickly. The shortest time for operation as possible as that thing is required. Now another, the carry its rated current without any heating. Under normal condition, it should not be heated. It should not be it should not be over burden. So that means it should operate its rated values without any heating. Now the last one is it has to, what will happen? It has to, there is a possible different forces, stresses may be developed during the closing and opening. So that should be withstand. That much of the mechanical strength and the electrical strength should be required. That is the withstand from mechanical and electrical stresses developed during the opening and closing system. So these three characteristics is required for a good circuit breaker. So after knowing these circuit breakers, then I am going to manufacture one breaker. So that has a very quick operation. So it can carry its rated current without any heating up its elements. Now it can withstand the high mechanical stress as well as the electrical stresses developed inside the breaker. So based on this withstand, I am going to manufacture one breaker. Let us see that breaker, how it will. So you can see here. So this is the one breaker. How manufactured? What is inside? It has a fixed contact. It has a moving contact. The moving contact will move horizontally this both directions, just like as shown in the arrow. Now it is connected to the load. Now what is happening? Under normal condition, whatever the current entered here coming and circuit is closed, it is going to circuit is going. Then whatever the load is connected, that is the fully functioning. Now if I want to open this circuit, so I have to move this mechanism. Moving rod should be moved this direction. What will happen? You can see. So once open, what happened? So here it is flowing this direction only, so without any problem. Now to operate this mechanism, I need some gear and lever mechanism is required. Then so I am going to provide the moving contact linked with the gear and lever mechanism. You can see here. Now if I given the gear and lever mechanism signal, it will operate, it will push the moving contact towards the right side. Then the fixed contact and the moving contact area decreases, both electrodes separated. Then the current may not be flows. This is a circuit breaker is off. After requirement, then once again I will give the signal to the gear and lever mechanism, then it will push towards the left, and once again it going to contact the fixed contact. Then the circuit is closed. So opening and the closing takes place by using up the mechanical mechanism under manual operation. Then if the fault load current increases, higher value and higher value, or short circuit occur at a load, then how we are going to move that one? That should require the one sense equipment. One sense equipment we are going to provide. It can sense the abnormal conditions, then that will give the signal to the mechanism. The mechanism will operate. So that purpose I am going to use a trip coil here with CT current transformer. CT-PT helps the detection of abnormal characteristics raised in a given line. That is analyzed by our relay. That relay will decide whether the circuit breaker should be opened or closed. So that is the total linking mechanism. This is the total closed circuit breaker operation. That means it has the closing trip, opening trip coil, closing coil, and gear and lever mechanism, and moving rod, and fixed rod, and interrupting chamber, and this is the total system. This is the basic switchgear circuit operation in a power system. Now you can see the one animation here, how it will take place. Now in this case, I am going to move the moving rod manually towards the right side. Let us see. I am going to move this one. So what happens? The gap is created. Then arc is formed between the fixed contact and moving contact. After few seconds, then whatever the inside media in a chamber, that is nullifies, quenches the arc. During this period, what will happen? The tips of the two, you can see here, the fixed contact and the moving contact tips, now it becomes a black color. That means the carbonization, the tips may be melted due to the high temperature of arc. While now if we are going to close it, what will happen? There is an air gap between the fixed and moving contacts. Then what is happening? So if continuous that one, there is a unwanted arc may be sustained continuously, that may damage to the total system. So how to operate? So the arc, whatever the arc is erased during the operation, that arc should be quenched very quickly to avoid the melting of tips of two electrodes. How we are going to do that one? So we can do by using our latest technology, that is known as the circuit breakers. Now here arc is your observed. What is the arc first of all? What is the arc? Now let us see. What is the arc? When the contacts of a circuit breaker are separated, there is a luminous electric discharge between these two contacts known as arc. Now we have seen practically. When it is opening, there is a luminous, it is a light, electric discharge between the two contacts is known as the arc. So you can once again you can see the here. So what is happening? Fixed rod and moving rod, in between there is a arc. That is known as the arc. This is a luminous electric discharge between the two electrodes. That is known as the arc. Now, so this arc, how we are going to analysis in our power system? Why it is happening? So you can see the with help of the our small AC curve. You can see here. Here you can see the normal, the system voltage. This is the system voltage, first one. This is sinusoidal, it is going this one under normal condition. Suddenly fault occurred here. In this case, whenever the fault occurred, our system voltage is decreases. Whenever the fault occurred, our system voltage decreases and current increases, as you know that. Once the voltage decreases, now what is happening? The current, the fault current is trying to flow. It is also in the nature of sinusoidal. When in the AC system, the fault current also has a positive and negative cycles. It has to forcefully goes to the zero crossing time. Here the current zero instant, the fault current is a current zero instant. At that condition, we are going to open our circuit breaker. We have to nullify this arc. Otherwise, what will happen? So once again, this voltage, whatever the short circuit voltage is going to So increase pulse and pulse. It is the going the it is the what is happening. You can see the that is a voltage, transient voltages develops. That is the voltages are very high as compared to the our system voltage. So this voltages, you can see it clearly. This voltage is known as a restriking voltage. That means whatever the ions between the fixed and moving electrodes in between, it has some dielectric strength. If dielectric strength is reduces, that voltage raised between the contacts is try to ionized once again the particles, and there is a high arc will develops. That is a restriking voltage. If your dielectric strength of the media is good enough, then automatically it quickly comes to its recovery voltage, normal voltage after few just fraction of seconds. That is known as the recovery voltage. You can see. So now you can see here what is the system voltage, what is the restriking voltage, what is the recovery voltage, what is the current zero instant, at the what time is the fault occurred. So you can easily observe here in a wave. So best keep in mind what is the restriking voltage, what is the recovery voltage now in this case. After that I can explain details while doing the in breakers. Now you can see the clarity. So at that condition, what is the current zero instant, what is the arc voltage, because current also flowing through the arc. Arc is nothing but ionized path. Ionized path is a flexible conductor through which electrons is flowing. That means arc has some resistance. Now in this condition, resistance is very less, the current is try to flow. That means it has some voltage. That voltage is the arc voltage. The voltage present in a arc. How much voltage present in the arc? That is known as the arc voltage between the two electrodes. You can see the one figure clarity. Here you can see this one. Now you can see the figure. So where the dotted red lines appears a circuit voltage, system voltage. Now what is happening? So here the green one is a short circuit period. Under circuit voltage is going on, at that instant you can see here, at that instant, so the short circuit occurred. Once short circuit occurred, this what will happen? Short circuit current increased very enormously. At that condition, arc also developed due to this current. This is the voltage. The arc, that means current is flowing through the ionized path. At that condition, the voltage between the arc voltage between the two contacts is, you can see the blue color. It is the sinusoidal wave, but it is not a sinusoidal wave. It is just like a pulse. You can see it, and it is a positive wave. It is a whenever the short circuit current is a positive, and system voltage is also positive, and this arc voltage is also in a positive direction. When the short circuit current comes to zero, natural zero, then at that condition our circuit voltage is a reverse direction. Then the arc voltage also comes to the negative side. Then once the short circuit current going to increase towards a positive side at zero crossing current, at a current zero instant, then what will happen? So at that condition the voltage also increase to the normal value. So at that condition, this voltage once again, the media, dielectric strength media is a less, ionized gas is a more in between the two electrodes. Once again the voltage developed is a more. That voltage once again develops a arc, that is a restriking voltage transients. Due to this one, so active recovery voltage also going to delay. So these are some analysis you can see later. So at instant, if the arc occurred, if the short circuit occurred, if you are going to remove that one, during this one a fault will come. The fault, during the fault time, what is the fault current, what is the arc voltage, what is the current flowing in the arc, at that condition what is the voltage developed between the two fixed and moving contacts, and what is the restriking voltage, what is the recovery voltage. You have the terms related to this one, you should know something. Now based on these things you have the some basic idea what is the recovery voltage and a recovery voltage and arc voltage and a current 0 instant. Now let us see the phenomenon of arc, how the arc is developed while removing this one. So here has the methods, different methods. See here, so we are going to learn, so basic methods are the, here two methods, one is recovery theory, another is the energy balance theory. So it is a higher levels, we are going to study that one. So now in this case we are going to adjust the basic things. Now what is the basic things we are going to do? So when fault occurs, here you can see it, the phenomenon of arc. So when fault occurs, a heavy current flows through the conductor circuit breaker. Already we have seen there, from fixed contact to moving current is a current is equal to some x amperes. We don't know current, how much current. Some x amperes is flowing continuously without any problem under normal condition. Now what is happening? When contacts begin to separate due to the some problem, the contact area decreases rapidly. The moving contact, fixed contact area now sliding each other. That means contact area between the two electrodes is going on decreasing while moving the moving contact towards the right side. That means the contact area decreases rapidly, which causes increase in the fault current density and hence rise in temperature. Once what will happen? The contact area between the fixed contact and moving contact is decreasing. The current, that is x amperes, try to flow. Now contact areas, the gates are closing, only small gate. Now crowd is more, x time of the crowd. Now the instead of the wide gate, the gate is closing. Then what will happen? The people try to flow, try to escape from that gate. Then what will happen? The gate sizes are decreasing, go on decreasing. Then what will happen? The density of the people in front of the gate is increases. There is a possible to, what will happen? So there is a something war. Now here is also same thing is taken place. Now the current density, the people by area increases. Now current per area increases, the current density increases, try to flow through the this contact area, small gate. Now you can see this figure. Now what is happening? Now so current density increases. So once the density increases, y amperes per square mm, that is the area increases. What will happen? So when the contacts are separate, the potential difference is created between them. Then what is happening? So once it is opened, no contact area from fixed contact and moving contact. Then what is happening? The voltage presence between the two electrodes. Previously both are overlapped, no voltage is a 0, current is something. Now the current is value is decreased, the voltage increases. The current may not be 0 because the what will happen? Though it will, once the current is going to decrease drastically, voltage rises, rate of rising voltage increases. Then what will happen? Due to this voltage, the contacts between the gap is very less between the fixed contact and moving contact. That contacts in between, whatever the dielectric strength of whether is the air or medium is try to, what will happen? So that break down by some voltage developed between the electrodes. That means already we know that so air has some dielectric strength 30 kV per centimeter square. That means whenever the current is passing through the 1 centimeter difference, if the voltage is going on increasing, once the 30 voltage increases, the 1 centimeter around the conductor becomes the conducting path. That means air below 30 kV centimeter, it acts a good insulator. Once voltage increased above the 30 kV, the area 1 centimeter becomes the flexible conductor. Similarly, that means the conductor, from conductor to 1 centimeter, whatever the air presents, that is ionization takes place. Ionization, that nothing but the positive ions and negative ions, the charged particles. So previously what will happen? Below the 30 kV, whatever the air presents, that is the molecules, the neutral molecules, no charged particles. Once voltage increases, then what will happen? They forcefully becomes the charged particles, positive ions and negative ions. Positive ions, negative ions are charged particles. So through which the electrons will try to flow. So that is the phenomenon here. Now what is happening? So once it is opened, the voltage present between the two contacts, because air gap is very, very low. So next, You can see. Next, after that, if the voltage between the contact is more than the dielectric strength of the medium between the contacts, it may sufficient to ionize the medium between the contacts. So then whatever the voltage is generated, that voltage is higher and it will easily ionize the gas between the two electrodes. So ionized means it's a conductor, nothing but flexible conductor, through which whatever the electrons from the fixed contact is try to flow through this ionized path. Once ionized path is electrons flowing, so electrons collide with whatever the media particles, there is a friction takes place. Due to the friction, heat will develop. Once heat is developed more and more, it will act as a illumination, that is the arc. So the ionized air or vapor act as a conducting path. Now what will happen? It is a flexible conductor, and the arc is struck between the contacts. You can see here. So what is happening here? So whatever the voltage is developed here, that voltage is very greater than the voltage, dielectric voltage of the medium. So here air, for example, 30 kV per centimeter square, previously less than 30 kV. Now once the gas ionized, the arc is, when it is separated, that voltage increased above the 30 kV per centimeter, for example 50 kV centimeter square. Then what will happen? The air between the two contacts, ionization takes place, through which electrons will try to flow. The collision takes place, heat will develop. That is the nothing but arc will generate. That is the phenomenon of arc. How the arc is generated is nothing but phenomenon of arc. Now this is the reason arc is generated. The ionized air or vapor act as a conducting path, and the arc is stuck between the two contacts. Now the arc between contacts act as a conductor. So arc act as a conductor. Now what is happening? So whatever the people try to flow through the gate, now it is the another open path. Then the persist a resistance value known as the arc resistance. That means the arc between the contacts act as a conductor. So each conductor has its own resistance, as we know that all metals have its own resistance. Now the arc act as a conducting path, then each conducting has its resistance. Now this arc resistance is known as the arc resistance. Arc developed between the moving contact and fixed contact. Now the arc has a conductor, each conductor has some resistance. So whatever the resistance present in the arc, that resistance is known as the arc resistance. So this is the thing you should know. Now the current flowing between the contacts depend on the arc resistance. Now what will happen? So as we know that the current and the resistance is always inversely proportional. If the arc resistance is very high, then current is very low. If arc resistance is very low, the current is flowing through the arc is more. It is inversely proportional. Now, so that means the arc resistance depends on what factors? So as we know that any resistance can be depend upon the R is equal to rho L by A, just like normal conductors. Where is the R is the resistance of the conductor, rho is the specific resistance of the conductor, L is the length of the conductor, A is the area of the cross section of the conductor. Similarly, here also, here instead of conductor is the arc act as a conductor. Now based on this arc, now inside its arc resistance depend upon what factors? Let us see. The arc resistance depend upon the flowing factors, the following factors. What are the factors? One, that is the degree of ionization. That means as the ionized particles between the contact is decreases. So that means once ionized particles present between the electrodes, the current will easily flow. Our aim is to whatever the ionized particles make forcefully into deionization. That means here, so as the ionized particles between contacts is decreases, the arc resistance increases. So once what will happen? Ionized path, that means current easily flow, more current, then resistance will decrease. If deionized particles presence, resistance will increase. That is the thing you have to remember. As the ionized particle between the contacts is decreases, the resistance will increase. Now next part, the length of the arc, L. So as the separation between the contacts increases, if you are moving the moving rod further away, the length of the arc also increases. The arc also try to increase, which results in increase in the arc resistance. The resistance value increases. So that means the electrons, what will happen? The electrons will try to reduce itself. At the same time, if the arc increases length, automatically it cools. Lengthening and cooling already we known. So that is another thing. Now last one is the cross section area of arc. So next, R rho L by A. Here rho is nothing but degree of ionization. How much ionized particle is present? How much length of the arc? Now how much cross sectional area of the arc? That is the thing you have to remember. Now cross section area of the arc resistance increases with the decrease in area of cross section of arc. Inversely proportional. The arc resistance increases with decrease in area of the cross section of the arc. So this is another thing. That means if the area of the cross section of the arc decreases, so voltage required should be more to continue persist of the arc. That is something that is burden to the voltage. This low voltage may not be restrike once again, develop the arc. So once the diameter of the arc is reduces, the voltage required to maintain the arc is also required very high. So by reducing the area of the cross section, automatically, so we are going to nullify, quench the arc very quickly. These are the three characteristics of a arc. Now, so what are the factors responsible for maintaining the, now the arc is developed. The arc should be persist for few cycles. The what are the responsible? How they are going to, so to maintain that one, what are the main roles helps to maintain the arc? Let us see. Now already we have seen the factors responsible for maintaining arc. The factors are: one, the potential difference between electrodes or contacts. As we know that when the contacts have a small separation, then the potential difference between them is sufficient to maintain the arc. So the voltage between the two contacts is very, very high. So that will continue arc persistence. That is the first thing. Next, second one, the ionized particles between the contacts. The ionized particles between the contacts act as a charge carriers and offers a conducting path. That means here the arc burst struck. The arc may be continued with the help of voltage, with the help of ionized particles between two electrodes. These are two factors helps the continuation of arc. So these are the things you should remember. Now what is the principle of arc extinction? How we are going to arc extinction? Now let us see the principle of arc extinction. There are the two ways to extinguish the arc. So what are the ways? Now here we are going to that one. So there are two ways to extinguish the arc between the contacts or these contacts. That means here the voltage should be reduced, the ionized particle should be reduced. That is our aim. Automatically by reducing these two things, these are the helping for sustain of arc, voltage as well as the ionization particles. If you are moving these two away from that place, then there is no arc. That is a basic idea. So here what is the first thing? To separate the contacts to such a distance, the potential difference becomes insufficient to maintain the arc. So here if the contacts are very close, the voltage is very, very high. If the contact is moved away from the fixed contact a large distance, then what will happen? The voltage may not be
very high, it may not be maintained. A large amount of the voltage that may not be helped to arc. However, this method is impossible in a higher voltage systems where a separation of many meters may be required. In case of low voltage, we can separate in few or in centimeters only. But higher voltage increases, so if the separation becomes more and more length, then the size of the breaker also increases. That is not advisable. That means the fixed contact and moving contact separation should be more, then automatically arc will quench. So that is possible for the low voltage. But if with a more higher voltage, what will happen? If the length may not be to nullify the arc, to quench the arc, we require to separate the fixed and moving contact in meters. In meters, what will happen? The size of the breaker increases. That is not advisable. Then coming to the next, to extinguish the arc between the contact may achieved by cooling the arc by removing the arc particles from the space between the contacts. First one is not possible. Then second one, what are the ionized particles between the two contacts that may be removed by with the help of other things. So that is the basic principle of arc extensions. Whether you are going to reduce the voltage or whether you are going to remove the ionized particles. So by removing the ionized particles by external means, then there is no help to maintain the arc. Automatically arc will quench in few seconds. That is our thing. Now method of arc extensions. Let us see. Method of arc extensions. So there are two methods of extinguishing the arc in a circuit breaker. One is a very famous high resistance method, another is the low resistance method, or we can say that is the zero resistance method. That means while we are using the zero crossing method. These are the things you have to remember. Now, so let us see this. Now, so here two methods are going to use to quench the arc. One is the high resistance method and low resistance method. So what is the high resistance method and the low resistance method? We can see in the next class. In high resistance method, the arc resistance increases gradually so that the current is reduced to such a value that heat is insufficient to maintain the arc. That means here whatever the arc is present, as we know that arc or candle. So if you see the candle, for example, if you lighten one candle, what will happen? So that will continue for next some period if persist some the media is required. For wax is available, it continues to flame. If wax is emptied, that is it is completed, then what will happen? Automatically will quench itself. At the same time, if you are not allowing any air surrounding the flame, then automatically it will quench. If you are closing in school levels, we have seen that thing. By lamp can be light by help of the air, whatever the oxygen present in the air, we require some fuel. At the same time, we require some temperature, the lighting temperature, that's a high temperature is required. Fuel is required and temperature is required and oxygen is required. Three things are required to maintain the flame. In this arc is nothing but a flame. So here we are going to nullify this arc by cut off these helping words. One is that is the fuel, and another is the oxygen, air, another is the temperatures. So here going to using how we are going to reduce whatever the arc presents, the arc temperature reduces. How we are going to reduce? By lengthening. If the lengthened arc, automatically the temperature reduces. If the temperature reduces, it may not maintain the arc. That is the one thing. Next, fuel. There is a fuel. If we are not allowing any fuel, burning fuel there, automatically it will catch. And so these are the things we are going to learn in the next class and clearly. So today let us conclude. So next class we are going to study the high resistance method and low resistance method. High resistance method, how we are going to use, low resistance, how we are going to use, we will learn in details. Now, so let us conclude what we have seen today class here. So in this class we have studied that thing. One is the introduction to switchgear system, the salient points of switchgear system in power system, classification of circuit breakers, phenomenon of arc, method of arc quenching. So here method of arc quenching is a high resistance method, low resistance method we will learn later. So these are the things we have seen in this class. So I think you have some idea what is the switchgear, what are the different classification of switchgears, why the arc is raised, what is the property of the arc, how we are going to quench the arc, and what are the methods. What is the high resistance method or low resistance method we will see next class. This is the thing you are going to observe. Thank you very much for listening my class.